And we are live. Now, there aren't a lot of people watching at this point in time. I guess we're getting... We're no longer a fad, and we are live. Now, there aren't a lot of people watching at this point in time. Of course,
you've not muted it again.
Yes. Well, listen, if anything, I'm consistent.
Well, I know it's not me because I haven't actually managed to open the stream yet.
Well, there's you, and there's me, and there's a grand total of one person looking, which would be me.
One of us. No, it's open now.
Ah.
But then again, the other day, Michael was there, and we said no one's watching, and he's going, "What? Don't I count as anyone now?"
True that. We can't really trust YouTube to do anything right lately.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Let's be fair. If you lost $70 billion, you wouldn't want to waste the money fixing any of these stupid faults either.
No, but most of these faults aren't stupid faults. I mean, they've actually created these faults.
Well, of course, but that's because they're stupid faults. By stupid faults, I mean most software programmers are stupid, which really upset Raven when I said that. He thought I was being unreasonable. He obviously did not ever meet any of my co-workers at the company we're talking about.
Well, there is that. But a lot of the things that YouTube has a problem with now are relatively new, funny enough.
Yeah, well, the problem is, okay, so I started programming in the old days, which was the procedure paradigm. So you just write code, start it from scratch, and your program will do what you tell it to.
Yeah.
And then they started to...
Hey, Paolo.
Exactly. Oh, I think we can finish now. Paolo said it all.
Orange man bad. Okay, let's go home.
And then they started to do the graphical interfaces so that you had to have libraries of routines to display windows and do all the basic stuff. And then you had the whole object-oriented paradigm come in, and then you got multiple processors operating in parallel-ish.
Good evening, Michael.
And it's just exponentially increases the complexity. And first, the education wasn't very good. First laugh of the night to Michael, definitely.
First shots fired. Thank you very much, Michael Keller. That one was brilliant. Yeah. Oh, you Loompa-phobic. I'm going to use that one day.
And so, you know, I can't remember what I was discussing with you. You've got all these, like, for instance, Microsoft released .NET, oh, goodness knows, 20 years ago, quite a while. And it was just obvious from the way that they would just go, oh, we'll release this framework and we won't worry about compatibility. We'll just, when we want to do something new, we'll just release a new one. Okay, well, it only took me a nanosecond to understand that. What that meant is you would just get an infinite growth in the number of different frameworks on your computer.
Yeah.
And this was not a good thing.
No, because it can't be stable like that.
Well, it's not just that, but even if their code could rigorously go through each version to find the right one, that it becomes a non-trivial activity with the exponential growth in the number of frameworks. And so, you know, and the problem is then when you start programming, you're no longer programming the system. All you're programming is the calls to the system on the assumption that what you're calling works, which is a foolish thing, won't change, which is a naive hope, and things like that. So so none of the people writing software are liable to have even the faintest idea what they're going to do.
No.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Ring contacted me and I tried to help her on a Twitter bot. And it was only a few lines of code, but to install a Twitter bot, she had to install Python, a Twitter library for Python, and then a runtime for Windows on top. So you got 3 layers just to write a few lines of code.
Yeah.
And it's like the only wonder is that anything works under those situations.
No, I understand. But it's
and so it yeah, I mean, here's the thing, okay. So you can talk about Google and Microsoft who have all this money, Apple the same, all this money, and so they should have good engineers that pay them a fortune. But the sorts of things we're talking about, it's not revenue earning stuff, it's low priority.
Mm-hmm. But isn't that the whole case with the bloatedness of code nowadays anyway?
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And this is what makes it bloated, because it used to be, I remember in my first job literally running out of memory. So far that if I couldn't alter my program anymore because the memory on the computer couldn't take a bigger executable.
Yeah, which was, especially with the early PCs, a huge problem.
But now it's sort of like,
Yeah, I can still remember that when you wanted to start your computer, everything had to fit in what, 640 KB.
Well, yeah, that was the old DOS thing.
Great fun.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm talking a lot less than that, 640 kilobytes.
Oh, I know. Before that, it was well below that. 640 was considered huge.
Yeah, well, that's why at the time, when DOS had that limit set, somebody said, "Oh, no one will ever need more than that."
Yeah. No, they actually thought that.
But then again, back in the days of mainframes in the early 1960s, someone said that they thought the demand for computers would be something like 5 or 6 in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is not quite 1 in every home, but...
No, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
Grand total of.
Yeah, we were slightly off of that one then.
Yes.
Just slightly. Anyway, we were going to talk today, and we may as well start the first computer course I ever...
5 and a quarter. You must be young, Paolo. I used 8-inch floppies in my first job, and before that, my first code was written on punch tape.
I wanted to say... Anyway, no, we're not going to talk about coding. We're going to talk about bad. Come on, Orange Man bad, because the President of the United States had a state visit with the head of state of the United Kingdom. So obviously, the world's too small now, because everyone has to complain. Because how dare the Queen of England allow someone as Donald Trump to come and visit?
Yeah. Only our most important international ally.
Yeah. Only the biggest ally they have had since... and
the man who will save the country single-handedly should Brexit ever happen.
Yeah. One that already said, listen, as soon as you're gone, we'll have a trade deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe that's why they hate him. Maybe that's why they hate him.
They just want to hate him. And it's brilliant. But here is the one thing that we haven't mentioned in our pre-stream. The sheer entitlement of the plebs
I said that several times.
Well, but
I did. I said entitled several times.
Yeah, well, but
you actually paid attention.
Yes, you did say entitled, but the entitlement of the plebs to decide who the queen is allowed to meet. And yeah, pre-stream, before we go live, we do talk a little bit, Michael.
Well, it's like, because Modwayne asked me for a subject, so I came up with Trump Derangement Syndrome in the UK, and then I had to tell him what my thoughts were. So we have a little natter just so we are on the same page.
Or not.
It might not seem like it. It might seem like neither of us has a clue. And
I do love our streams, though. I really do. It's sometimes so brilliant. Like, no, it's not a video you miss. It's usually something that happens before we go live. Yeah. And I have said in the past that we may want to record our pre-streams and we may want to record our after streams.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't help in this case, because if the whole value of it would be to inform the lovely viewers of what we talked about.
True that. You see, the funny thing is, Michael Keller, not too long ago, actually last year, I was in a Twitter dispute with someone else, an ideologically driven person, and he found it a point of pride to show that even on the live streams on my channel, people disagree with me. I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the entertainment. Crikey, if we just agreed, no one would bother to watch.
So yeah, okay. Sometimes we make funny jokes, and
more often we make bad jokes.
Quite often, I'm actually thinking about creating an intro to our more or less weekly hangout thingy now. Something like sometimes they are serious, sometimes they are seriously silly, something like that. Anyway, sidetracked. So yeah, that's the pre-stream. And in the pre-stream, we was talking about the Trump Derangement Syndrome, which is not just hitting America, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that was why I asked to talk about it, because it is insane that there are enough people in the United Kingdom who think that protesting Donald Trump should even be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, where were the protests when Ceausescu came? There probably would have been a small protest as well. Let's be honest.
Well, he was a commie. Of course, he was all right.
True that.
Even though the left at the time hated commies, but there you go.
Well, then only some commies.
No. The left at the time hated commies. But don't count Corbyn.
That's what I wanted to say. And Corbyn is a commie. I mean, I don't care what you say. He's not just a commie. He's a terrorist apologist. There hasn't been
sorry, Modwayne. Sorry to interrupt, but Paolo asks about Blow Up Doll as a guest in the BBC studio. Do you know anything about that? Or do we need Paolo to elaborate?
Oh, Paolo, do tell. I haven't even... That's not even where I went. Sorry, no, I haven't seen... I did hear that the Blow Up Doll had been massacred by some...
Oh, no. Don't you mean the floating baby?
Yeah.
No, I think he's talking about a sex doll.
I'm going to see if I can find it then. Blow Up Doll BBC.
And now you'll be banned for
yeah,
searching for terrorism.
It was the first things it's open. Pornhub.
Oh, no, I was thinking... Oh, the floating baby.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, no. It was the floating
baby.
Yeah,
the floating baby.
What did they call it? No, it didn't call it Blow Doll. They called it... Oh, for goodness sake. There's a term for them. I've got some great close-up pictures of it from last year. Blimp, that's the word. It's a blimp.
Yeah, I don't understand why people called it a blimp, though. I mean,
because it's a technical term.
It's
that we use in Britain.
I thought blimps was huge.
No. A blimp is a moored balloon. So it was designed, and they got permission for it originally as a blimp. No, blimps don't have a size.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was too small for a blimp either. Okay, I'm going to share.
You're confusing blimp with airship.
Oh yeah. Okay, fair enough. But that's what I think when I'm saying blimp, isn't it?
Yeah, that's only because people use words badly.
Well.
All right, it's an airship that maintains its form by pressure from contained gas.
Yes.
As small as you like.
But it has to be an airship, though, and an airship is something that
Doesn't have to be an airship. A small, non-rigid airship or dirigible.
Yes, so it has the ability to move things. I don't think it has struts, by the way.
No, she's saying
fair enough.
Its shape is a blimp. Its shape is determined by the pressure, the air pressure or the gas pressure.
Anyway, I think this is the one that Paolo meant, right?
Yeah.
The BBC blimp bias.
No, I've got a better picture than that.
Well, share it then.
No.
Well, there you go. It's kind of funny though. It does it seem to sit on something here?
No, it's moored. You can see the cabling. Because also it's lighter than air.
There seems to be something here as well.
Well, maybe there's a what do you call it? A
blow up suit.
No, what do you call it? Hemorrhoid pillow.
Hemorrhoid. Well, it's got to be a big hemorrhoid pillow then. But there you go. But yeah,
or a rubber ring, you know, for a pool. Not too big for a pool ring.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, that makes sense. That'll make sense. But it's kind of funny. The blimp depicts the U.S. president in a nappy and clutching a mobile phone, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, also a blimp is a pompous, reactionary type of person. There used to be a cartoon, and when I say used to be, I'm talking about the first half of the 20th century, called Colonel Blimp.
And yeah, they're called.
They even made a film of him.
They made a film of him?
Yeah. Yeah, well, they made a film.
Oh, right, this one, the BBC one. Yeah, I'm not going to play the...
No, they made a film of Colonel Blimp.
Oh, Colonel Blimp. All right, well, yes. The ventilation to blow it up. They can't use normal inertia gas to do so. With a leak, everyone in the studio drops dead. Yes, well... It's probably filled with helium, though, so I don't think people will die of that.
No.
Helium isn't that bad. Anyway, so yeah, no, this is funny that they get blasted. Well, it's completely acceptable. The BBC was caught in a biased row last night.
Well, isn't she that same freaky shit? She's that horrible moron who got so upset at Carl Benjamin.
But it's the BBC. I mean, there used to be a time that I had respect.
There used to be a time I had respect, and now I just want to scrap the license fee.
Yeah. It's quite terrible. But it's kind of funny because, oh no, no, Trump is coming to the UK. How dare the Queen allow a visit with Donald Trump? I wonder whether people were okay with Haile Selassie. Probably, because Haile Selassie wasn't that bad a person, was he? I mean, he only thought himself the second coming of Christ, but other than that, he wasn't so bad, was he?
Well, what can you say?
Okay. Let's see. They had King Faisal II of Iraq. This was well before the Iraqi ditched their king. And I like the fact that they had William Tubman in 1962. And William Tubman was the president of Liberia. Liberia obviously being part of the old UK American.
I thought it was always free. I thought that was the whole point of Liberia.
Liberia was more or less free, but it's kind of like the only colony of the United States.
Mm-hmm. But it was they founded it as a land for free slaves. Thus, Liberia, liberty.
Yeah. I mean, if black people didn't want to stay in America, and the American public kind of appreciated them to be able to go back to Africa, they could go to Liberia, where the United States actually invested to have a country that had the same stability and whatnot that America itself had for a while. And then after a while, it was given more or less its own freedom, because in the Western world, all of a sudden, everyone was against the idea of colonies. And then Liberia became a shit show.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm trying to think which of the colonies didn't became shit shows after colonization ended.
Well, you know.
But there must be one that didn't turn into a shit show, wasn't there?
Well, you could say India turned out quite well if it wasn't for the... Oh, those bloody Aussies did all right.
Well, the Aussies did.
Canadians.
But yeah, Canada did all right until... I mean, let's be honest. I can't even bother to spare time.
Who was it? Someone was saying something about... Was it you telling me? Someone was telling me about how people were smashing up the road with pickaxes. Are you telling me?
That was in South Africa. Yeah. There are people in South Africa going to take out roads by actually pickaxing them because they are a remnant of colonialism. Silly Modwayne, my nation, the United States, started a bunch of colonies. We're doing all right.
Yeah, you're doing all right. But what about the poor sod in the colonies?
That's the thing, though. Liberia was one of those colonies, and Liberia isn't doing all right. But funny enough, it started doing less than all right once America said, you know what? You have your freedom. And this is true for just about all colonies.
Actually, can I just answer Michael Keller? He said, "Remember Trudeau, shit show after all." Well, yeah, I think though after a certain amount of time, the training wheels come off and they get to own their own mistakes.
Yeah,
you know, it's like certain American presidents. Nothing to do with us. They insisted. They went their own way. They didn't listen.
And then they fucked up. But
no, I'm sorry. I was just winding Nick up as the only known American in the audience. But
yeah, I mean, yes, Nick, I understand you were one of the colonies, but at the same time, once you became your own country, you started a colony, which was Liberia.
Yeah, sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you said you started a bunch of colonies, which. I do it all the time, and it's always the important word you miss out.
Colonies going there.
I thought you were talking about America's policy after the Monroe Doctrine in Central America.
So, but I mean, let's talk about some of the great people the UK has had on visit. That I'm sorry, I need to there. Thank you. But let's talk about a few beautiful people that came to visit the Queen that are obviously not as bad as Trump were, because Trump obviously was way worse. I mean, let's be honest. President Ibrahim Aboud of Saudi Arabia.
No,
Saudi Arabia.
Can we invite Nick on? It would be nice to have an American perspective on the appalling goal of British citizens to protest an American president, which I find utterly disgraceful, to be honest.
Well, if Nick wants to join, I mean, Nick, you want to join the old farts?
To talk about your disgust at the uppity British protesting Trump. Oh dear! So I'm only laughing at how bad I find it. But yes. You will probably need to wait for the lag. What am I doing?
I've got a little time. I don't know how long I can stay. Well,
That's all right. We won't hold you to anything.
Oh no, the fire. But other than that, okay. Let me see if I have your Twitter handle. Nick. I don't seem to have you on Twitter, do I, Nick? Yeah, I don't see you have.
The first word I read was Adolf, but obviously, as the Queen acceded to the throne after the death of a certain Herr Hitler, it wasn't that Adolf.
No, that was Gustav from
Yes.
Sweden. Because Adolf used to be rather a normal name.
Well, obviously, names are normal until, you know,
so Nick,
they get a bad reputation.
If you can send me a small tweet, I can send you the. I use Twitter because I'm lazy. I could also open Skype, to be honest. Let's be.
Oh, we had your lot over last year. King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima.
Queen Maxima. Well, it's logical though. I mean, we're next door neighbours. I mean, one could barely
nearly.
Well, it's only a bit of water in between.
Yeah, but France is Ireland is our most immediate next door neighbour, as we've actually got a land border with Ireland.
True.
And then there's the French
neighbour,
because we can actually see them on a clear day.
Okay.
And then there's Spain because we've got Gibraltar against Spain, another land border.
Okay, let me see if I'm doing this right. Can I send you a private message? Oh, what the hell? Why is this doing this? It's actually changing my words as I type them. That's really weird. Okay. I can't send you a private tweet, it seems. I did send you a tweet saying, is this private? Which it obviously is not. So I think you have to subscribe to me.
Yeah, you have to be subscribed to each other to send messages on Twitter.
And I am following you. So
yeah, there's a lot of
you sent a direct message to me. Oh, that's
there's a lot of visits by potentates from the Middle East. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, now I have to do this and that.
They seem to make an unusually large proportion.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. They had a visit of Mugabe. So okay, I sent you the link to the Hangouts, Nick. You're obviously welcome to join. How many Irish coffee did you have this evening? I don't drink Irish coffee. I don't mind mead, though. My ever-elusive microphone.
I hear Windows 10. Wasn't me, mate.
No, it wasn't me. It was me. I was opening all sorts of stuff whilst I was trying to...
First rule of Windows, turn off all sounds. Computers should be seen, not heard.
Kind of like kids then, like, huh?
More. I mean, I'm happy for kids to speak from time to time, but computers should shut the F up.
So, but let's continue our interesting look at heads of states that were allowed to.
Not allowed, invited.
Well, that's true though. They're invited, isn't it?
Not allowed. It's not like they turn up at the border and then go, let us in, and we say, who are you? Well, I'm a head of state. Oh, you better come in then.
Yeah.
They're not like Lawrence Southern and various other. What was her name? That the Pedigree guy and that other woman. Oh, I forget. How soon we forget.
Smash like and subscribe.
Well,
and not PewDiePie to me.
I'd be surprised if anyone here wasn't subscribed.
True that. But the biggest fun, though, I mean, if I look at the list of people who have visited the United Kingdom, and this one obviously must have been far worse than Trump. I mean, Emperor Hirohito, the guy responsible for everything Japan did during the Second World War.
Was he responsible?
Well, he was.
Okay.
He was the emperor at the time.
Hang on. I've got an Emperor Akihito.
No, that's later.
I can't see. I've got brought up that list of visits you suggested. And there's no. Oh, there he is.
Hirohito, the October 1970.
The same one, because the Hirohito of World War II abdicated.
No.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's the same one. He reigned from the 25th of December 1926 until his death in 89.
Oh, okay.
Akihito was his successor. He didn't abdicate. He took responsibility. But yeah,
by whom, Paolo? I'm an atheist. I don't consider anyone.
Well, but that's the thing.
There's one or two very attractive young ladies, but I mean, not in that sense.
Yeah, they're not divine, mate.
Yes, they are.
No. A succubus isn't divine.
Who said anything about succubus? That's mythological. The only mythological creature I will accept are leprechauns. And only because I know one.
He's not here yet. Yeah,
no, it's Saturday. He's probably off doing something.
Yeah, well, it's Saturday, having fun. But yeah, he was the last emperor considered to be divine, and this is why they sacrificed their life to the emperor and to the empire. And then there are some Gustavs, obviously, both in Germany and in Sweden.
Well, there's a, as I say, that down towards them. I started from the bottom up because I thought that was more pertinent.
Well, I mean, no, because the 39th visitor to Her Majesty the Queen as a state visit, because we're talking about state visits, we're not talking about royal weddings and all that, because there are some nasty people that show up at royal weddings as well. Hi there, Matthew. He's joined us. Mr.
Matthew.
There we go.
And people, I like to point out, I recently learned that Nick actually wrote books.
Yes,
and that seems very interesting. I'm actually thinking about getting me one. Especially,
that would be good. You would be part of a very exclusive club if you read my writing.
Yeah, well, you know all of them already.
And Alicia's an author, and I've actually got 2 of her books, mostly because she sent them to me.
Really?
Yeah.
No, she didn't bother sending me in.
Well, no, she didn't ask you to read them out as audiobooks. So.
I know. You're going to do the audiobooks for them. I know.
Well,
you are.
I have every intention. Sadly, that is often not enough.
You have a good reading voice, though. You have a good talking voice. If you want to get a book, start with a dictionary. Makes reading other books easier. I can't.
Especially a Dutch to English one.
So nasty, so incredibly nasty. There should be a rule about not being nasty to the host.
Well, as with joint hosts, I think that's actually the opposite rule.
Well, don't worry about it.
Well, you put my name in the titles. Well, my description.
Yeah.
And as a senior member, I demand respect that is due to me for my seniority, which means that I give you none as the junior.
I didn't really consider my junior. I mean, I'm quite an older fight. All right, you're the older one. can see that. But I'm not a junior. Ah.
The junior. I didn't say a junior, which is an absolute. The junior as a relative.
I have you say this is my house.
It's like it's like the old British sitcom Are You Being Served, and they had young Mr. Grace, and he was about 100.
Yes, that was so funny. Are you free, Mr. Humphreys? Well, I love that show.
Of more relevance to Paolo was Mrs. Slocum complaining about what the everything happening to a pussy.
Yes. I'm sorry, Nick. What did you want to say, mate?
I said, did I miss anything important while I was scrounging around for my stuff?
Nick, read the chat.
Oh, hey, hello. Oh, see, now that makes me feel really good. That makes me feel just extraordinarily happy.
And hi there, Toxic. Nick, would you rather say Nick or do you want me to say Matthew?
It doesn't matter. Either one.
Fair enough. And
people who are watching, they're going to see my name pop up as Matthew. So if you say Nick, you might confuse them. But
then if you write anything in the chat,
that's their problem. Yeah.
If you write anything in the chat, you'll be Nick again.
Yeah.
Where's that? See, how old are you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, 42.
Is he old enough to be an old fart yet?
No. That's definitely only middle age. I mean, these days 40s become, the lower limit for middle age. As people extend their various ages.
But yes, after that, I've mentioned a few nice names of people that had
you should screen share the list up, mate, and then people can be aghast rather than you just read them out and then everyone go, "What was they said?" Oh, I forget. Or is that just me?
I'll share the list. It's not me. It's Wiki. Don't be trans-age phobic. I'm not trans-age phobic. But he's not an old fart yet. Sorry, this is not about. It's an elitist club, and not everyone is invited.
Well, yeah, you do have to be a head of state. Britain wants to get something out of mostly. Thus, all the Middle Eastern potentates.
Yeah. Well, the first one obviously being Gustav Adolf, but
that was slightly different, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was probably cousin Gustav, for all I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
there is a huge.
Let me see. Phil was a Dane, so her husband. She wasn't that long married by that point. She did get married before. Oh no, hang on. Did she get married before? Yes, she got married before she was coronated. And yes, he's a Dane, although he was called Phil the Greek.
Yeah, but that's funny because the Danish royal family is by far the largest in Europe. They have their tendrils in all royal families in Europe, as far as I can remember.
Well, I mean, World War I was a squabble between three cousins, after all.
True that. You're laughing, Nick, but it's unfortunately very true.
It is true. Tsar Nicholas,
yeah, I know. That's
Tsar Nicholas, Kaiser Wilhelm, and the King of England were cousins.
Yeah,
all
I
had
don't
the
think I'd
grandmother.
ever really realized that before. not as a sentence like that. I mean.
Oh, really? Oh, it's an old throwaway truism over here.
But anyway,
maybe I'm just not old enough for that, huh?
Maybe. I mean, let's be fair. I mean, I mean, World War I was quite ancient history when I was at school, and we didn't have a Vietnam to get in the way of recollection of World War II. Because as I grew up, it was all World War II films.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of which are non-PC these days.
Oh, no. Most of them you can't even watch. Hell, I mean, remember that movie Zulu about the insurgency of the Zulus in South Africa, where they massacred most English people, it's considered racist.
Yeah, of course, because you're showing.
Yeah, you're showing a historical fact.
Well, that's racist, you see.
It's considered. I think
Facts are racist.
Yeah, facts are racist. And
Come on. Only evil white men like us care about facts.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to decolonize your brain, currently, and your streets. So.
And thus, Trump Derangement Syndrome amongst the British.
Yes. Because Trump is bad, but Haile Selassie, I've mentioned Haile Selassie before. I shouldn't.
Oh, well, he was black, so you couldn't.
I didn't mind that he
was him.
I didn't.
No. But I mean, it's non-PC to criticize anyone who's not white.
The dude had a Jesus complex. He thought he actually was the second coming. Yeah. I mean, how can you take someone like that serious?
Are we talking about Trump again?
No,
that was meant to be a joke.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think Trump considers himself the second coming.
No, the first. Just kidding. I am actually.
It depends. If Stormy Daniels is involved, there was no coming involved on it.
Yep.
Nasty people.
Yeah.
I did mention William Tubman, who basically more or less was a dictator of Liberia. Who else do we have? Well, Greece, King Paul, he's not that bad. Sudan, Ibrahim Aboud. There was a huge fight between South and North Sudan already under his rule. His rule wasn't the most friendly.
What was that back in '63?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we invited Nick on to give us the lowdown of a native's view of how he feels about British people going to the efforts they did in protesting his beloved president, or non-beloved if he's not beloved.
Well, yeah, that depends entirely on where you're standing, whether he's beloved or not. Myself, I am a Trump supporter, quite often a somewhat reluctant Trump supporter, but still I am.
Reluctant Trump supporter. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but why are you a reluctant Trump supporter?
Oh, I appreciate a lot more of what he has done than I disapprove of what he's done. But there are a number of things I just don't appreciate.
Okay, I'm going to be a little bit of an arsehole here, but plenty of things he did I don't appreciate. Doesn't mean I don't support him. I don't have to support him. I'm not American, but I mean.
Well, apparently we all get a choice now.
We do, obviously.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, wasn't it?
We're all living in America. No, but the thing is, I mean, I support him as the president of America, yet I also recognize that the dude does make some very stupid mistakes. Funny enough, in all fairness, some of the things I considered stupid mistakes did have actually had an effect that I did not anticipate. For example, his whole Rocket Man discussion with Kim Jong-un.
Oh, there was nothing wrong with that.
No, I thought it was a little bit on the
crikey,
goading side.
No,
on the what side?
Goading.
Oh, I see.
Trying to get him to fight.
No, it wasn't.
No, I know it wasn't, and it did work out the way he planned it. But I hadn't.
Well, there you go. Then you've just admitted you're not smart as Donald Trump. On air, we just got Mod Dwayne to admit he's not as clever as Donald Trump.
Did, and I will not take back on that. But at the time when he started doing that, before he got Kim Jong-un to sit at a table and actually talk, even though those talks may not have been as useful as we would like, but before he started him to do that, I did worry about his rhetoric. But he was correct in doing so.
Results, you see, you've got to judge someone by the results.
But that's what I mean. Because now Nick is talking about how he reluctantly supports.
Well, yeah, no, what I meant by
I
that
don't
was
reluctantly support him. You know what I mean?
Not way.
right. A lot of the time, I only add that in there because a lot of people, when they hear someone say, "Oh, I support Trump," they expect someone to be the 100% MAGA type, and it's maybe I shouldn't have to qualify it, but
I
you
think
almost have
it's
to.
healthy. I honestly think that all leaders should never rise above the, to an extent, because everyone's human, everyone's fallible, and no one's going to do 100% what you like and nothing you don't like.
Well, and I suppose I forgot where I was for a moment. I mean, and I shouldn't have had to qualify it here, but around most people, it's just a reflex. I got to say that around people that.
Yes, and the very fact that you have to qualify it is itself very meaningful.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I would love to live in a better world where I don't have to, but I don't live in that world.
I mean, I don't have to support Trump. It's not so much that I support Trump. I recognize that he's the leader of the United States and that he's doing a lot of things that people didn't expect him to do. Doesn't mean that I can't criticize him.
Look, all I can say is I'm jealous. If we had a Trump instead of a May, we'd be out of Europe by now.
See, that's the point I was about to make. Yes, it doesn't matter if you're from another country or not, because I can say I don't support Theresa May. Shouldn't make no difference because I'm not British.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that one's.
But the point was, you wouldn't expect to have a protest in Washington D.C. for a British Prime Minister's state visit, or visit.
Well, I was going to ask you I read more than one article that led me to believe that the scope of the protest was nowhere near as big as people had thought it was going to be.
I don't know. I haven't followed it at all.
Okay.
I've seen pictures because the organizers had brought a lot of sticks with slogans on them and all that.
Yeah, you mean banners?
Banners. Oh, no, not just banners. All the smaller ones.
Postery things.
Yeah, posters. And they had a huge pile of them.
Yeah, this is the point, because
they couldn't get rid of them because
this is the point, because when they do these left-wing protests, they're all really well organized and really well funded. When I went to the free speech protests, there was nothing organized and everything was homemade.
Yeah,
because it just shows the difference. There was no institutional support behind what we were doing. It was just 10, 20,000 people doing it at their own expense of their own volition. Whereas when they do the anti-Trump stuff, they pay for buses to bring people down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's a grassroots movement, don't you see?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
One cheer-led, is that okay? Cheer-led by the BBC, the Bigoted Bias Corporation.
Yes, I really had an appreciation for the BBC a long time ago. That's completely gone.
I do have an alternative meaning for the word "see." I'll let you guess what that is.
I'm going to say cunts.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say it because I was going to keep your stream polite, but obviously not.
I know.
That was indeed.
We're all adults here.
Yeah, we're going to draw a line and say Vox Apocalypse this, huh?
Listen, I don't get any coin because I didn't survive the first wave. Well, I survived as in I still have a channel, but
I asked somebody who was getting I think it was Alicia adverts, and I said, is it worth watching this advert because it's like a 5-minute advert? Will you get enough money for it? And she told me a figure so low, it's like, well, it's not worth it.
No,
you have to have view counts in the tens of thousands or millions to even be enough to write a check.
Well, the funny thing is, when I was monetized, I had one video. There's one video that was roughly half of the of all of my views of that year, that one video made $5. All the other videos combined made 25 roughly. But that video came out during the first adpocalypse. And shortly after that video, YouTube demonetized me, which basically also means that my channel doesn't get promoted or anything like that. So it's really funny to try and find my channel.
Yeah, you did this last week, remember?
Yeah. So
maybe you should have a segment every week where you explain the same thing.
I wasn't here last week, so that's okay.
It's not just me. It happens to everyone. I mean, there's huge channels that have been completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Because they...
well, there's some channels being deleted now, aren't there?
Yeah, quite a few. This is that Vox Apocalypse thing that John referred to a moment ago.
Is it? I didn't.
You?
I would just no.
I said that.
No, the Vox Apocalypse. I mean, it's like it's just an ongoing effort. They have a strategy quite clearly. I said this 3 years ago. It was already obvious because what they want to do will not work overnight.
Let me see if I can get some more interesting names on the list.
That's why I never even bothered about growth or anything, because I thought, well, you know, whatever. I'll just do what I do, and then if people want to watch it, they can.
These two are also quite interesting.
Vox is a German FTA TV channel, as well as an American media outlet. I assumed it was the American media outlet that was doing it.
Well, anyway, so Trump visiting the UK. How does America look at that? Not at all. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I really wasn't all that bothered by the protests. I mean, these days I expect it. So it you got to remember, this guy was being protested before he set foot in the office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it, you know, I was kind of surprised they rolled the baby balloon back out.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, when you spent 75,000 on that thing,
you have to use it.
I'm sorry. It
doesn't have many purposes.
Is it 75 grand for that?
Yeah, because the big joke was that they spent a lot more on that one than the Sadiq Khan baby or Sadiq Khan thing that they did as an alternative.
Yeah, because there were people like, okay, if you do this to Trump, then we're going to do this to Sadiq Khan, and they had something that was.
Yeah, because Sadiq Khan said what it was. Sadiq Khan said, "I will allow it to fly, and if anyone did want to meet, I would allow that to fly too." And people went, "Challenge accepted."
And then he didn't allow it to fly, actually, but that's a different story altogether.
Well, of course, but that was the whole point.
Yeah, but it was actually cheaper to make, and I thought it was also bigger.
Oh yeah, it was cheaper and bigger. Yeah,
but
let's be honest, lefties can't do business.
Right.
True that. But it's amazing because when people were talking about the Donald Trump blimp, people were actually thinking about a float size balloon.
Yeah.
AC Day float size. And what it is basically a slightly bigger I went to the circus balloon. Because it's not that big. It's amazing. I mean, you can get a blow-up doll and it would be, well, it's a little bit smaller, but
no, it's not that small. As I say, I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find the pictures.
But you know what occurs to me? You asked for an American perspective on it. Like I said, the protest doesn't bother me. But since you mentioned,
here we go. Yeah. Sorry. Here we go.
Garrett?
Yeah, I was going to do so. Hang on. Say much nicer picture. Hang on, where are we? I need to go into here, don't I? And that one. Oh.
You see, we are highly professional on this channel.
That's what I was going to tell you. I admitted I had to find my microphone. I found it in record time, actually, and I was so impressed with myself. Then I looked around. Where the hell are my headphones?
Ah, dear.
To call it a but I mean that's what I mean. Oh, let me see if I can share you now, because obviously
There we go. No. There we go. No, I'm not.
I have to share you now, don't I? There you go. See, I do have a little bit of control here.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, there we go.
So this, as you can see, I took that from just in front of it the first time it came out.
Yeah, it's a huge balloon.
And you see the scale of it properly because you see the people underneath it.
Yeah, it's not that big though.
No, but then again, it's not that small either.
Well, okay. Yeah, but that's what I said, a few meters.
I mean, if you deflated it, the rubber or plastic, or whatever it's made of, would still weigh quite a bit.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But, and I don't care about it. That's the funniest part. I really don't care about it.
I actually find the Trump baby balloon kind of funny, but
Oh, I did. That's why I took a picture of it.
that's it. I didn't see how that was intended, because it's intended to be offensive, and I just didn't find it offensive. I found it hilarious.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, and
I guess it's kind of like the God Emperor float that was supposed to be insulting, and it ended up being the most awesome thing ever.
I don't think they thought the name of that through. Calling something God Emperor is going to be insulting.
And the baby balloon is not as big a flop as that, but still, most Trump supporters, you'll see that baby balloon, as the avatar for a lot of Trump supporters and stuff. They adopted it as their own symbol.
You mean this one?
Yes.
But this does actually look massive, and it really looks cool.
It does. I mean, and that was supposed to be bad, was it?
I'm like, well, if this is an insult, I'm curious what your compliment is going to be.
I was going to say, Trump as a character in Lord of the Rings.
No. This is not Lord of the Rings.
No, it doesn't matter.
It does. This is Warhammer. This is.
Excuse me.
Oh,
somebody who doesn't play games, it doesn't matter.
And
No,
I didn't know what that character was from until someone explained it to me. I think maybe I get to qualify as at least halfway as an old fart at this point. I didn't know what the hell Warhammer was.
Let me try to explain it to you, because it is a big deal. And this is why.
Please do explain.
In 40K, well, in Warhammer, the humans have a deity, the God Emperor. Literally called him the God Emperor, who leads the humans. And in 40K, it is the same one that it was from fantasy. So he's been around for 40,000 years. Well, he hasn't physically been around for 40,000 years. But
sorry, I'm just going to piss myself while you're taking any of this seriously.
What makes it serious is that within the Warhammer storyline, he is huge. Every human looks up to the God Emperor.
Do you know what the best name for a god is? It was from Third Rock in the Sun, where he was called Big Giant Head.
Yeah, that was a good one. I have to admit that one. No, but the idea that claiming that this is an insult. Oh yeah, no, you're the biggest god in your storyline. Not just your storyline, but the storyline of everyone else. How is that an insult?
Yeah. People who, well, we know, as I was saying, with their inability to make a blimp cost effectively, they don't do a lot on the smarts.
No, that's true. And Paolo, I don't mind that people consider me a nerd. Nerds rule the world.
I would used to be a proper nerd, a computer geek, not all this video games and.
Not Not video.
Comics and
Tabletop.
okay.
As if it's a huge difference.
No, it's worse.
No, it's not. Don't be silly.
Oh hell, you think you're bad? I have designed my own tabletop games, so
Yeah,
RPGs.
We tried that too. It was fun, but
Yeah, everyone who plays them swears that they're better than anything you can buy off the shelf.
yep, that's and at the same time, we stopped playing it because there were no new books coming out, and it was too much work to keep new ideas going. It's bad. We're bad. I should be detentioned.
Well, anyway, I was saying something a little while back. I remembered right what I was going to say.
You're not an old fart yet, then.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm trying real hard. See,
you see, if you're an old fart, you would lose your thread when interrupted, guaranteed.
Does it help my old fart status if I tell you I wrote it down? So,
and
no, because that is incredibly non-old farty. That's organized.
Anyway, the protest in Britain, the people on the street and the lawnmower penis and all that, none of that really bothered me. The thing that did offend me, and it didn't offend me much, but the thing that offended me more than any of that was Sadiq Khan's video. When I watched that, I would have been more offended if it hadn't been so ridiculous. But his little protest video he released was...
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. He is the mayor of a city that under his rule has gotten more violent, has gotten more crime, has basically destroyed its cultural cohesion. I mean, let's be honest. He has to make people think about other things than him.
Oh, I know. He makes the mayor of New York look good. So and
please remember, he's standing for re-election, I think, again later this year.
And he will win because, let's be honest, most of the people...
And so he has to virtue signal even more than normal to the retards.
But he will win again because there's no other Muslim standing against him.
Well, not just that, but they've ethnically cleansed well, not ethnically, got rid of anyone intelligent from within the city of London.
True. I mean, but I've been...
And that's the wall we talked about last week.
Yeah. And that's
no loss to the world.
I have been highlighting names of great people the Queen has met before she met with...
okay, can you try a better game? Find the decent people she's had on a state visit.
Well, that's going to be very difficult. She did have Lachwalesa. And in all fairness, I personally think...
Oh, and he was Polish president.
Yeah, he was the Polish president. But he was the first Polish president after Solidarność. And he was basically the first Polish president. Well, he wasn't the first Polish president. He was the main guy behind Solidarność.
Yeah, I know. I was there.
Communism in Poland. So he did do something right. I mean, he wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
Well,
the left would never have protested him because he was a huge a huge hero to the left in Britain.
Really?
Yeah. Massive.
Because
he was anti-communist. This is what I keep trying to tell people. He was anti-communist and he was a massive hero amongst the left in Britain.
Okay. Well, but in all fairness, I mean, I'm not going to say he's a great man, but he did great things.
Well, I mean, it's like he did more to bring down the Iron Curtain than anyone.
But I just realized something, and I have to point it out, because people have always been talking about the link between... oh, come on. Stupid program. There you go. People have always been talking about the link between Vladimir Putin and Trump, and we found it. We found the link. They've both been to the Queen. A few years apart. But but
six thingies of Kevin Bacon isn't very interesting.
Actually, I think they have each other's phone number. But in all fairness, considering that they're both leaders of world powers, I would assume they have each other's phone number.
I would hope so. Yeah.
If not,
but
I mean, there used to be this whole joke about that red phone in the White House with a direct line to the Kremlin.
oh, you mean the spitting image one?
Yeah,
They had Ronald Reagan talking to Gorbachev.
aye.
That was
But
good, that was when the BBC still made comedy.
Yeah, that's when they was, but when they were still relevant. That's the thing; they were still relevant, and they could still say, you know what, I might support them, but they are still people. They still make mistakes. I might not support them, but they're still people. They might not be all bad. That's long gone. I always had to make this joke about, I think it was Terry Wogan. Terry Wogan was a talk show host.
And
then,
sorry, Nick doesn't.
Yeah, not everyone does. And I always used to say, well, Terry Wogan, yeah, he's something else. You've got humans, and then you've got Terry Wogan. He's something else. But he wasn't bad. I'll have to admit, he wasn't bad.
No, Terry Wogan, at the time when Terry Wogan started to be popular, there was still a lot of anti-Irish bigotry in Britain. And he became this huge... he had the breakfast show on BBC Radio 2, which was basically listened to by a huge swathe of the population at the time. So like the non-youth market, it was all the housewives and things. And I say this because my mother used to have it on. And he probably did more to get rid of bigotry towards the Irish than anyone, because it was like no one ever brought it up with him because he was just this lovely guy.
No, but I mean, he was leveled. But that's what I'm saying. The BBC used to be a good broadcasting, and they had their mistakes. I mean, let's be honest. Jimmy Savile doesn't get any worse than that.
Well, I tell you what, I always knew there was something off about him, because I was like, ugh, horrible man. Even if he is from Yorkshire, from Yorkshire.
I didn't.
But he was from Leeds, which doesn't really count.
I didn't know at the time. I'll not lie, but yeah. But
well, it's not. It's just something very. I hate to use the word creepy because first I'll be accused of hindsight. But he had this show. Oh shit! Jim will fix it.
Jim will fix it. Yeah.
Where he used to get little kids in and make their dreams come true, and it was the most cringe-making. Awful.
I have to go AFK for a sec. I'll be right back.
Jim will fix it, yeah. He fixed it for himself, that's for sure. No, very unpleasant, but he's one of those people you think, how did that person get so successful? There's a person devoid of talent.
There's more of them these days than there were back then.
Oh, I don't know. You know what they say? It's who you know that counts. Yeah. So anyway, so you're not totally disgusted at huge swathes of the British population thinking that it is worth their time and effort to protest the elected leader of another country.
No, that's what I can see why people would be bothered, but I guess I'm not. And funny enough, I don't. No one I talked to really seems to have been bothered by it. People were anyway. Now I live in the Midwest, so I have no idea what people are like everywhere else in the States. But most of us were just kind of chuckling when we would see it on the TV. It's kind of like, man, these people got way too much time on their hands.
Well, yeah, exactly. That was my reaction. That's what I said to Modway. I said, I just took it as proof of the level of ideological insanity that people would bother to get so upset about a foreign visit, given, and this is the point unstated of Modwayne's list of other visitors, given how no one else got protested ever.
And I got to wonder, what exactly, what outcome were they hoping for? What did they think they could change with this?
No. Please. First rule of leftism. Never do, only moan. Okay? That's the first rule.
Right.
Second rule. Maximize the amount of signaling for your virtue that you can achieve. So they only demand. They never do. They demand. We demand. We scream. We read. We complain.
You know, I have to wonder how many selfies were taken and posted online from the protest for people to prove that they were there. I can imagine that. You know, so hold the kids up. We need to get all their faces in the picture.
That's the whole thing about a lot of leftist. How do you call them? Protests. I think protest is a wrong word. Shouting matches. It's only to be there. People have to see you. And if someone comes to you and asks you what's your opinion or why are you here, you just shout some derogatory terms as if that's the point. I've seen videos of people interviewing. Well, interviewing is a big word, but asking questions to people on the pro-Trump and the con-Trump sides, and the ones on the con side were just ridiculously pandering and there's all name calling and blah blah blah, and there's not a serious point being made. But if they go to the pro side and people actually can explain why they are there.
Yeah.
Why are you in favor of Trump? Why are you not against Trump? I mean, the funny thing is, in America, you don't really get to be told this, even though in America there are lots of black people who are in favor of Trump. In London, nearly all black people I've seen, not in London, in England, nearly all black people I've seen, maybe that's my bias, have a pro-Trump idea. I mean, they might not.
And what you're saying is,
person.
and we heard it here first, Modway thinks black people are far more sensible in the UK than many of their white compatriots. And can I just say, I agree with that.
Yeah, I just want
It's it. Well, yeah. Is that really true, John?
I have no idea. I cannot possibly give you a demographic breakdown of the United States. All I know is that there are retards.
No. If you look at Mick, Vox, all those bullshit channels, but they do have a lot of channels where they interview black Americans, and usually they have one or two who are pro, and they have like several who are against him. But in the UK, I've seen so many videos of black people who are actually in favor of the ideology that Trump seems to portray. People who are.
You know what? I bet what's happened is the interviews have just thought, oh, they're black. They must be anti-Trump. Well, that's their opinion. Oh, shit. They're for him.
But that, well.
Oh, and I can guarantee you there are a lot of black people in America who are actually pro-Trump but will not admit it publicly.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that it's.
Whereas in the UK, I mean, let's be honest, there are two people who are very much against Trump and his nationalistic ideology. Those are white communists, in whatever flavor you have them, and Islamists. They're the ones who are against him.
Well, you know, as I say, as you said, the people who are against him cannot articulate it because it's all about cultish following the ideology, not understanding anything, just being the next step.
And I'm highlighting President Barack Obama now. I know he was the previous American president, and it seemed childish to do so, but he was the one president of the United States that has had the most war acts in his reign. I mean, there hasn't been another president of the United States that has been at war or officially hasn't been at war, but hasn't had so many war actions as any president in the history of the United States. Even Bush the Younger.
Yeah, but he did start big ones.
Well,
no, come on. I mean, Afghanistan and Iraq.
I wouldn't call that a big one, but fair enough.
Big, as in going on for a bloody long time. Yes.
Yeah, but all of them have been going on for a bloody long time. Shit, they're still in Saudi Arabia. And that's not because of Trump. That's not because of Bush. That's way before that. They should have been pulled out altogether. That's a different story. But, I mean, yes, okay, maybe Iraq and Afghanistan are big ones. Obama prolonged them and started a few new ones on the side of it.
Okay.
So if we're going to say Trump is this warmonger, why?
Well, no, that was always just a lie of the Democrats, because we all knew, any of us with eyes knew Hillary was going to be the bigger warmonger.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And yet the lie was she was all peaceful.
True that. But as it is, President Barack Obama is the one president in the history of America with the most wars on his hand. I said wars, I didn't say blood. That was a choice.
Okay. No one was arguing with you.
No, I know, but you will see that there will be people that will.
Given the 5 or 6 watching.
No. There are a few people who at times like to tweet stuff at me.
Really? You mean we've got secret watchers of people who like to quote mine you?
Sometimes, yeah.
So you have an infamy. Well done.
Well, it's not big, and they hardly ever use my name anymore, so that I don't see it. Which is funny, because then someone else says, "Hey, you know what?" It's funny. I think we're done through. I mean, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates. They're not that bad, are they?
Well, they are all despotic regimes of the Middle East.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Xi Jinping, the new.
Okay, how many are actually democracies? United States, yes. Netherlands, yes. Spain, yes. Colombia, possibly. China, no. Mexico, probably not. Singapore, probably not. Ireland, questionable.
Mexico is,
Probably not.
Questionable. Just for the Irish in the chat. South Korea.
No. I'm so.
UAE, no. Kuwait, no. Indonesia, no. Turkey, well, that's arguable, isn't it? United States again. Qatar, no. South Africa, well, if you must. India, yes.
Yeah.
France, definitely not. Saudi Arabia.
Nope. Ghana. Brazil, yes. China, no. Italy, yes. South Korea, yes. Poland, yes. United States, Russia, South Africa. Really, South Africa, though? No. Denmark, okay, yeah, sure. Hungary, okay. Germany, okay.
You know what? I couldn't name you the German president.
No, because they took away all powers of the German president so that he wouldn't be as important to prevent another Hitler from happening. So they gave all the powers of the president to the chancellor.
Which Hitler was.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is that?
Hitler was a chancellor, and he got himself the presidency to get those powers as well.
So now they have a chancellor.
So to make Hitler harder, they made it easier.
which is kind of what happened to Europe, because then the Chancellor of Germany said, you know what, we'll open the borders for Europe. And now Europe is in a whole lot of shit. But it's not because of Angela Merkel. Well,
yeah.
There you have it. And actually, did Denmark just vote in the Social Democrats' warped reflection? Yes, they did. But you want to know the funny thing? The Social Democrats that are being voted in Denmark at this point in time, most politicians in Europe would now consider those Social Democrats extreme right wing.
Yeah.
Because they basically said...
That's the Overton window shit.
Yes, I know. But, I mean, these Social Democrats basically said, if you come from a foreign country to live in Denmark, you have 2 years to learn the language. If you don't, you can't stay. if you are here and we allow you to stay, but you're a criminal, we have an island you can live on. There is no money coming from government. Well, there is money coming from government to get you settled, but you have to earn your keep. Kind of basically all the things that are reasonable for the rest of the population are now also being demanded of the refugees. And I totally agree with you, Warped Reflection. I think that is a reasonable request. But obviously, the socialistic Democrats...
Well, you see, it used to be the British left were also had, you know, Tony Benn, who Sargon keeps quoting as having reasonable attitudes. And then you've got Corbyn, who is a lunatic.
Yeah. I mean, that people are... I mean, the dude is anti-Semitic. There hasn't been a terrorist in the world that he didn't agree with. He has been vocal about how great Cuba and Venezuela is. Do I need to continue? I mean, he had talks with the IRA when the IRA wasn't even having peace talks in Ireland. I mean, there is something seriously wrong. Danger.
Oh, yeah, we know this. Thus the conversation about Trump derangement syndrome being a thing in the UK. If that isn't a symptom of something really wrong, I don't know what is.
True that.
That's why I suggested it.
It's a good suggestion.
No, I'm saying, but that's why I suggested it. Because it's just the mere existence of Trump derangement syndrome outside the United States. It's bad enough within the United States, okay? It's totally unreasonable. But once you get out of the United States, you're like, what the fuck?
It started as a joke, but it actually has become a viable diagnosis. Did you know that?
I did, yes. But they don't call it Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, they do actually.
I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah, they're.
Oh, I thought they had another name.
No. It's called Trump Derangement Syndrome. It started as a joke, and it's like the Onion said. We can stop doing we can stop doing satire because everything we say is overtaken within a week.
Yeah.
No, I think John's right there. I think they swapped out the word derangement with something else, but I can't remember what it is.
No, I think I actually saw it as TDS.
Yeah, that might be. Trump derangement syndrome diagnosis.
You want to share it?
No, I've got to find out the information first.
All right. Well.
According to Wikipedia, it's got a Wikipedia page. A new neologism used to describe irrational reactions to the United States president, blah, blah, blah.
Well, Renovatio, I'm not so sure that the UK has to worry about Putin. But, yeah, the whole idea of mutual destruction, if there's mutual destruction.
The Russians have never wanted war. It's always been a lie of the Americans to perpetuate their spending.
Yeah, that is true. Which is kind of funny because that's why the Americans have so much firepower. They can destroy the world several times over. And okay, don't get me wrong, Russia had this firepower to destroy the world several times over as well. But I think the Russians could destroy the world 3 or 4 times and the Americans 8 or 9 times. And I'm sorry, one is a little bit overkill, I think. Just, thinking.
No, it's Saturday night. You don't want to be doing any of that. Sorry.
So, even Wikipedia call it irrational. Yeah, of course they would call it that.
No, he meant the behavior.
Oh, right. Well,
not the diagnosis, the behavior. It's
kind of funny because there was a woman who stabbed herself because Trump derangement syndrome. and this is news, I think, a few days ago.
Oh, tell the lovely people about that story you were telling me about the NHS woman who got sacked.
Oh, there was one woman who was at the protests because of Trump, and she's this typical SJW bitch. And no, I didn't mean a dog. Dogs are nice. And she shouted at a man who was at the pro-Trump thingy, and why he was there. He could have been there for family, or he could have been there because he himself thinks Trump is okay. It doesn't really matter. But she was shouting and swearing and racist and Nazi. You know the drill. And she works for the NHS. And people recognized her. And they were like, oi, get rid of her. So they started doing what the SJWs normally do and started complaining to the NHS like, hey, do you know who you have working for you? And then the NHS said, well, she doesn't work here anymore. So she got fired. And I'm not in favor of this. I'm laughing, but I'm not in favor of this because people shouldn't be fired because of their political views. But as my great co-host John mentioned,
I'll flip you the tenner later for the word great.
But as he mentioned, it's basically power for the cause because they've been doing this for quite a while.
Well, you hold people by their own standards. And if they want a standard that you get into trouble for calling someone a Nazi, then it is imperative we get them to be held to the same standard, as that's the only way to get rid of it in the first place.
Forgive the stupid question. NHS, what's that stand for?
National Health Service.
Okay, then I understood it right. What was her position?
I don't know.
Whatever. But I mean, the point is, it is actually, I think, the country's biggest employer.
Right. Yeah, I don't think she should have been fired for that.
No, I don't. Okay.
Then again,
other thing, I would agree. No one should be fired for words.
Oh, I'm not bothered by it,
But in Britain, people are now getting into trouble for words. And the point is, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if people are going to get into trouble for shouting Nazi at somebody, a man went to jail for calling a Tory politician it, then the leftists who use the same language deserve the same fate. It's as simple as that.
This may sound like splitting hairs a little bit here, but was she fired for attending the protest?
No,
or was she fired for that particular
he was fired
tantrum?
for calling someone a Nazi.
Okay, so yeah, see, that's a little bit different too.
And as a good little stupid idiot, she apologized for calling Nazi in his face. The guy was hit.
Well, that just fixes everything.
Yeah. Well, he was hit by a milkshake, and the woman who had been identified as, I'm not going to say the name, you can read it yourself, apologized on Twitter for yelling at the Trump fan during a demonstration in Parliament Square yesterday.
I know why you didn't read the name, because you can't.
I can, but I won't, because I don't do doxing. I can't help it that these people have put it out there.
No, I bet you don't have to pronounce her name.
What?
Go up, go up.
Sean.
Go up.
Sean.
Hmm?
Sean.
Siobhan.
Siobhan, yeah.
That's what I said. Almost. Anyway, so
one of them funny Irish words where they use all sorts of different letters for the ones we're used to.
Yeah, but this is the great individual shouting at someone who had just been.
Yeah, and it's the point that she took the effort to go, and she feels justified in that kind of behaviour, and they're the ones who then shout at people like Carl Benjamin and call him hateful.
I mean, look, he just been attacked, right? Shish being a right twat. Look at the face, the glee on her face. I mean, people like that should be imprisoned. I'm not talking about firing her. This is actual assault.
Yeah.
Okay, I must have missed it in the article there. She's not the one who threw the milkshake at the guy, is she?
I don't think she was, but
Oh no, that's not an offence according to leftists, and that means the police.
But that's the thing, though. Look, this is a police officer. They're standing right in front of him. You know who got arrested for the attacks on him?
No one.
Indeed.
Of course not.
And
in fact, the police probably said, "Oh, I'll hold your banner while you throw that at him."
Yes. I'm sorry, sir. Do you need a new milkshake? I've seen you've misplaced yours.
Well, what reflection? Damn right. If people have a job which requires special trust, they need to act responsibly in accordance with that.
Being part of the UK police.
It is. I'll tell you, it's getting there.
Well, it's getting there.
I used to never have a problem with the individual officers, just with how they were being led, but it is starting to. They are being sufficiently trained and indoctrinated in their training. Well,
there's something seriously wrong with, and this is not just in the UK. Let's be honest. I mean, it's easy to blame the UK, but this is not just in the UK. There's something seriously wrong with our politics. I mean,
I was going to say police problems. You know, we got that over here in Portland and Berkeley and other countries, other cities. I mean to say,
in most Western countries, the indigenous population is a second-class citizen. If we look in the Netherlands, I've made a video about this on my Dutch channel. There have been people arrested for something that indeed could be an arrestable offense, but then there were people of different ethnicity and a different cultural background who did the very same thing, actually went a step further, and they're not being arrested. Now, this sounds a little bit cryptic, so let me tell you the story in short. Some time ago, in the Netherlands, we have this yearly event of Saint Nick coming, and one of his helpers is a Black Pete. There have been idiots out there that claim Black Pete is racism, therefore they feel the need to protest against Black Pete because Black Pete is racist. They had been allowed to go protest in a city in Friesland, and the people of Friesland were like, "We don't want you here," but they have the right to go there. So they decided, you know what? If we block the highway, you can't get there, which is what they did, which they got arrested for and they got punished for. And where I agree, or rather I can appreciate what they did, I also agree that the fact is that they got punished because they broke the law. And then Pegida wants to protest in Eindhoven. But the city mayor of Eindhoven was like, no, we don't want you here because riots. Well, said Pegida, but we have the right to protest. No, said the mayor of Eindhoven, you do not. So Pegida said, yo, judge, what's up? And the judge was like, yeah, no, you do have the right to protest. So the mayor of Eindhoven gave them a small square, put fences around that square and said, okay, that's why you're allowed to protest. There were hundreds of police officers, 15 members of Pegida, and a few hundred people of the religion of peace protesting Pegida. And they didn't protest by saying they didn't like it. No, they protested by throwing rocks and sticks. One would call it rioting. Now, remember those few people that prevented the protest in Friesland with Zwarte Piet? They all got fined, etc., etc., etc. But the mayor of Eindhoven already said that they're not going to do anything about the people who rioted at the legal demonstration of Pegida. Basically, it boils down that if you're Dutch in the Netherlands, you do not have the same rights as people who are not Dutch in the Netherlands. And this is not just true for the Netherlands. This is something we see almost everywhere in the Western world. I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
I see in the chat, John says back again, armed with beer.
Yes.
So
Well,
am I.
we're going to call it quits in a moment, though. I mean, the whole idea was that the Saturday night stream wasn't supposed to be 2 hours, and we're already
Yeah, well, you've got to add a third because we have an extra collaborator tonight.
no, we're already added half, so that's more than a
That's
third.
what I said, a third. Well, you know, I mean, a half to make it, yeah. A third of the total. Hour and a half instead of an hour.
Well, the idea was to do it shorter so it had rewatchable qualities. I mean, let's be honest, most people don't rewatch live streams because they take so long. I know I don't. Then again, I'm actually thinking, and I'm hoping maybe someone knows something about this, so I'll ask it here. I'm actually thinking of uploading them as podcasts as well. Could be funny.
I have never watched a podcast in my life. I don't know anything about it.
No, me neither, but there seem to be a lot of people who think they're interesting. Anyway, Adam and his Apple COVID IG.
No, I was Wart mentioned something. I asked her what it was, and she said that Adam and his Apple covered it, so I can go look that up later.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I remember that one. The first point was that the UK Army basically told its officers to look out for right-wing extremists. And one of the first points was that if they're a soldier and they're a patriot, they might be right-wing extremists. And I'm like,
and if you're a soldier and not a patriot, what the fuck are you a soldier for?
That's the thing. They're willing to die for their country. How the hell are they not patriots? How can they be anything but a patriot? They're willing to lay down their life for their country.
Oh, no, you see, you've got to understand that now. More and more people are going into the army, and they don't expect any trouble.
Yeah, they did just...
Especially the women.
Yeah, biscuits and tea till the retirement. Something like that.
Well, it's a job, isn't it?
True. Still.
Yeah. But no, whoever who gets to lead things in this country, you know, police, army, whatever, seem to be all thoroughly indoctrinated.
Anyway, considering the time, I do think we're going to call it quits. My cat farted really loudly. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nick, thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I hope to.
Yes. Thank you.
I'd rather have you on Wednesday than on Saturday, because I kind of do want to keep the Saturday one off.
Yeah, I know, but we were talking about British reactions to an American president. It seems only fair to invite an American.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've got to say, it wasn't my idea.
Listen, he is more than welcome. He was more than welcome today. Hell, I even sent him the link.
Yeah, and now you're going, but I'd rather you come on a Wednesday.
but I would rather he come on Wednesday. I've been trying to get him on Wednesday for several times.
But I think only twice, if that counts as several. But yeah, sure.
Doesn't twice count as several? It's more than once. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, make fun of me, why don't you?
That is the point.
Apparently. Anyway, and I seriously, I was surprised to hear that Matthew wrote books. And I had his Amazon page. I actually have your Amazon page open here. You Paradox Eclipse, Original Zin, Edge of the World. And I am waiting till I have a little bit of money, and I'm probably going to buy me a few Kindle versions of the book because I'm a poor bastard.
There are only Kindle versions, so
that's true.
It makes it easier to distribute a small number.
I did kind of want to ask you, Matthew, which one do you recommend most?
Well, I hate to be evasive, but every single one is different from every other one, and I don't know what you like to read, so I'm not sure what to answer right off.
All right.
He likes Warhammer.
Like what?
Well, unfortunately, I still don't know what the hell Warhammer is.
Okay. I just hope it might have given you a guide.
Sci-fi fantasy. Warhammer is sci-fi fantasy, and that you don't know this. Well, you are American, all right then, but still.
And my
and allow me to
excuses, I'm
ask the
old.
two old farts here something about internet abbreviations. I don't know what AFK means. And you've
Away
used
from
it twice now.
keyboard.
Away from keyboard?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I read this kind of like, do
I
admit
had
that I don't know
to ask myself not long ago.
Yeah, I was
So-
trying to work that one out and figure it out, and I was kind of like, nope, this one's beyond me.
Okay, I did like your not your latest video, the video a moment ago about time travel one.
Oh yeah,
It's the time travel paradox. It's just one of the many ways to look at time travel.
yeah. I'll probably make more time travel videos. I'm planning on doing that in my next one when I get around to it.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you're going to look at time travel, there's one thing that makes time travel absolutely impossible, and somehow everyone.
Physics and reality.
Well, it is something to do with reality. Yes, there's one reason why time travel is physically impossible.
Yeah, reality, physics.
Yeah, well, that too.
You can travel in time.
Yeah,
We
forward.
do it all the time.
Yeah, forward.
Yeah, forward.
But it's even funnier. Say that there is a way to send something back in time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fair enough. Let's say we send everything back an hour in time.
Mm-hmm.
The planet Earth isn't at the same location as it was an hour ago. You'd end up in space.
Yeah. Well, that's why in the book Paradox Eclipse, the time machines I use, and I described that in the video. It requires a sender and a receiver. Whatever is on the sender is sent to the receiver, specifically, exactly to where that is in not only in that moment, but in that point in space at that moment.
Yeah, I
So
heard.
that's how I overcame that.
I heard that theory that time travel will only be possible from the time they first invent time travel. You won't be able to travel back to before it's been invented. For that reason.
See, that's the problem with time travel.
But it wouldn't matter. But no, it's nothing to do with that. You see, they say that the laws of physics have no directionality in time. Not true, because you have the second law of thermodynamics.
Oh no, but that's the thing. We do time travel. We do it all the time.
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, but that's not my point. And my point is, they say that the laws of physics say there's nothing directional about time. Okay, in the equations. But we have the second law of thermodynamics,
Which is also quite direct.
and according to the second law of thermodynamics, time does have a direction.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be a law and it wouldn't work.
And the funny thing is, well,
And in fact, the directionality of time is the direction of the operation of the second law of thermodynamics.
But the funny thing is, when people are talking about travel speed, the fastest thing that we know exists is the speed of light. We haven't found anything that goes faster than the speed of light. Now, the question is whether we would find something if we would be able to measure it. That's the second question altogether. But at this point in time, we haven't measured anything that is faster than the speed of light. And even at the speed of light, we measure distance and time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get around time. So yeah, no, I mean, time travel is a very interesting conundrum. And well, tachyons are still slower than light, though.
Well, it kind of depends. There's all kinds of oddities. I mean, space itself travels much faster than the speed of light.
Well, it depends. I mean,
As far as I know, tachyons have not been proven to exist yet. Am I incorrect about that?
No, tachyons have been proven to exist.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's the whole CERN thing.
Well, they have this thing, don't they? With is it this? Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just trying to remember that within an
Particle
atom. No,
Yeah.
within an atom,
there are
you have these pairs of subatomic particles, and like they are, one is the opposite of the other, and you will only find out what one is when you check the other, sort of thing, but it will instantaneously determine it or something.
Well, the problem is you can't really measure them. You can only calculate them. The idea that tachyons are only hypothetical isn't really true. Well, there's quarks, yeah. The tachyons are not only hypothetical because they can calculate them, but you can't sense them. You can merely...
Well, of course not. Nothing smaller than an electron or proton is identifiable by definition.
Well, you can identify them based on what you can predict will happen.
No, you can determine, like when they search for the Higgs boson, they could determine the effect of it on other things, but you cannot direct it directly.
Yeah.
Because the thing you would be detecting it with is larger than the thing you are trying to detect.
And by trying to detect it, you're already changing the reality, because to measure something, I mean, we're talking about things so small that to measure something, you have to actually feed the system. And because you feed it with something, you're already destroying what you're measuring. But at the same time, they can calculate what the outcome would be, and therefore they can prove it is there. But yeah, you can't make a picture of it.
Wouldn't be very interesting anyway.
And the funny thing is, this is true for very small things, but this is also true for very large things, like black holes and
well, technically, black holes aren't particularly large.
Their effect is.
Well, their effect is maybe. Though I heard who did that video? Oh, the honey badgers. The honey badgers were talking about shifting to Pornhub, and they cited an example of comments on Pornhub. Somebody asking about whether a black hole really was a singularity, and someone giving a very good scientific response.
Oh my God. Okay.
But the username of the person replying was perfect for Pornhub.
But let's be honest. That's the downside of Pornhub and the downside of porn sites. Everyone watches. And the funny thing is, YouTube is predominantly male. Pornhub isn't.
Oh, I know. But no, but here's the point. The reason for going to Pornhub, it's the one site that no one will dare take down or be able to take down as a rival to YouTube.
Well, he's saying something offensive. You mean before or after?
No, they meant as a platform, because when people went to
BitChute
and Gab and all these, you know, they get defunded, and the payment processors get all funny, but they say, go to Pornhub, you'll be safe from that, because no one will ever go to attack that. No one would ever be able to.
No, and that's true, and I'm actually seriously thinking whether I should do that too, because Pornhub is actually opening its doors for non-porn videos.
Oh, the way I understood it, they aren't so much opening their doors, because stuff like that was always there. That's how it's been explained to me.
Yeah.
And they just have decided, you know what, we're going to let all that stuff stay.
Well, I mean, they don't care. That's the point.
I'm talking about this hypothetically, as though I've never been on Pornhub. I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence. I've never sought out anything on Pornhub that wasn't what you would expect to find there, though. So I have to talk about it hypothetically.
I'm sorry. You describe it so beautifully.
I know, that's why I mentioned it, ludicrous. He said the honey badgers, that's why I brought it up, because they mentioned it. And also mentioned the physics, which is where I segued into this discussion from a conversation about black holes.
Yeah. No, but it's kind of funny. No, I have actually been looking into it because Cocoscope seems to be all right, but streaming at Cocoscope is crap.
Mm-hmm.
Can you stream? I didn't even know you could.
You can, but I haven't figured out why or how. We tried last time, didn't we, John?
Well, you did. I will not claim any more competence than I have to.
I defer to your expertise.
Why? That's a fool thing to do.
I know. I'm sorry.
But yes, the only trouble with Pornhub is I know there are certain of our audience who might have to consider whether they would wish to.
Yeah, that's the downside.
And goodness knows what the adverts are like.
Yeah, but could you imagine if Pornhub was like, you know what? I will start a competition with YouTube.
Well, they already are. It's just a question of whether people, can do stuff.
No, at this point in time, Pornhub isn't really at competition with YouTube. They're still mostly Pornhub.
Oh, yeah. Well, no one would ever say they wouldn't be.
But what if they would say, you know what? There's going to be a Pornhub and a YouHub.
No, because then it would become... The whole point of going to Pornhub is that it's Pornhub.
No.
No, that was the argument put forward. You want to be in a platform no one can attack because it's resilient.
But can you imagine a platform no one can attack, but it isn't 100% based on porn?
Well, I think I'm not certain if this is what Modwayne's trying to say or not. I think he's not saying that there would be a separate institution called YouHub. If that would be like a tag or something on the site.
Yeah,
for the non-porn material.
No, I quite agree. But as long as it's identifiably separate, it will be vulnerable.
I doubt that, though. I doubt that because it's only identifiably separate as saying, okay, you know what, this part of Pornhub is free of porn for the kids.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, no. As I say, I mean, essentially, you cannot escape. The whole point of doing it is to go for adult, non-censored content.
Well, in all fairness, there is also Cocoscope, and it's kind of funny that I see big numbers. I mean, my videos have like 200 views or more, but I only have 18 subscribers on Cocoscope.
Yeah, well, we had that conversation once. I get a lot more viewers on Cocoscope and BitChute, Cocoscope in particular, than I do anywhere else.
Yeah,
certainly more than I do on YouTube.
I
have no idea why.
100 subscribers on YouTube, and I get like 20 to 40 views. Yeah. I've got 18 subscribers on Cocoscope. I've got 400 views. I've got 30 views on average, 40 views on BitChute as well. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
That's me.
And Modwayne's now about to really drive us all up.
Yes. No. But I have, how many subscribers do I have on BitChute? Let me see, because I am curious now. It's not a lot. It's not a lot.
I've got like 7 on BitChute. I can't remember what I've got on Cocoscope.
I know that the other day Modwayne told me that you'd uploaded a new video, and I said, "Oh, I've not seen that." And he said, "Oh, it's on Cocoscope," because my Cocoscope notifications don't work.
But that's
the I put it on both, but
no, I then watched it when it was on. I didn't say anything because you were. It was a long one about the milkshake throwing,
right?
And it was like, yeah, fair enough, but I don't really want to say anything.
Well, my BitChute subscribers account is 30, which is almost twice as high as Cocoscope. But in all fairness, I am pushing Cocoscope on Minds. So every video I make, I link in Minds. So maybe that's also one of the reasons why I have so many views on my videos.
Oh, that'd be good.
That is good, definitely.
I have never watched a single video on BitChute. I have watched videos on Cocoscope, but then found that the comments were broken.
The Cocoscope wasn't. Yeah, Cocoscope did have their problems with comments. I'm not sure how it is now. In all fairness, the biggest video I have on BitChute has 399 views. Look at me, I'm huge. Whereas on Cocoscope, I think the biggest one has 461. The biggest one on YouTube still has 50,000, but that was before I got demonetized. And now you can't find me. Yay!
I don't care for numbers. It's only because I haven't got any. You know, it's like
Maybe.
3, 5.
It's still cool
10.
whether you're liked or not. Let's be honest. That's the one thing I don't really like about Cocoscope. It shows nothing about the views. It merely has a view counter. And it doesn't say, did they watch a lot of it? Or did they watch 2 seconds of it? Or was it like, click, oh, fuck, not this, boom. Still count watched? I don't know.
Well, one of the changes that YouTube's supposed to be bringing in is better analytics as to, you know, those figures. You know. I also found because I wanted to download a stream because something was very interesting was said in it, and I just wanted to cut that bit out. And I found that YouTube has now totally disabled downloading videos outside of the YouTube Red.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
You used to be able to get browser add-ons and things, and you could just download.
Yeah.
And I tried one just the other day, and it said, we can't access YouTube because we're not allowed to. I then found one that still thought it could, and then when I tried it, it said,
Yeah, I had a program that doesn't work anymore. So okay, that explains why. I was curious why it didn't work anymore.
Yeah, they seem to have introduced. Basically, they want. It's like every time on my iPad, if I minimize YouTube, it stops playing. And then when I open it up, they'll go, do you want to be able to continue even when you close the app? Buy a subscription.
Yeah.
They are being very, very aggressive about it.
In all fairness, I like the idea of being able to download YouTube videos. But if I want to make something, you know what? Fuck it. I don't have to download it. I can screen capture it.
Well, it depends. There was just a clip that I really liked, an explanation, and I just want to be able to cut it out. And because when you're referencing something in like a 2-hour, 3-hour stream, it's much easier just to download it and say, right, I'll have this 5 minutes.
And someone mentioned Link U, which is a blog thingy. So I might look into that one too.
What's that for?
For growing my online presence.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, but didn't I say we're going to call it quits?
Yeah, half an hour ago.
I seem to remember that.
Modway does this all the time. I was going to make
Yes, I know.
about it. But the best thing was, normally it's me who keeps bringing things up, but Modway did it all by himself today.
Yes, well, we are good at this. Listen, this is the whole idea of the old fart show. Hey, by the way, guys, what did you think of the imagery used as a thumb?
Oh, you're talking the picture of the two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that, actually. I was going to make a comment about that, but...
Well,
especially commissioned by someone who can draw.
Yeah. This is made by a friend, and she also sells her stuff. You can find her on Ism Ideas. Now I can't find the bloody image. Why can't I find the...
You should put a link on in the description each time.
On my normal videos, I always have a description to it.
No, I'm saying, but in the one for these, you should put a link in, artwork by, and then a link to it.
Yeah, she's going to restart
Webpage.
trying to sell her stuff. So at the moment she isn't that active in it, but as soon as she will be, I will start linking it again because I do.
Well, it's good to her credit.
Yeah, true that. So, but do you think it's what does the chat think, guys? Do you think it's an interesting picture? And sleep well, Daisy. We're going to call it quits soon anyway.
Yeah, we've been saying this for
half an hour at least. I know.
How long does the lag usually take?
Yeah, too long. Okay.
I did tell Modwayne that it's an utterly unrealistic one. Apart from the fact that I do have more hair than that, I also would never be caught dead in a tie anymore, let alone a
don't have more hair than that.
I mean, Modwayne doesn't care because his is flattering.
But she gave you a little glass of something.
Well, that's very prescient of it.
Hey, I got
What's that in your fingers? Or should I not? It looks like a lipstick.
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be a cigar. Come on.
Well, he is from Huddersfield. That isn't too far north of me, ludicrous. He said, I'm doing a Patrick Stewart impersonation.
And those things in my ear are ear holes, not earplugs. Come on.
I hadn't noticed, to be fair.
Yeah. The thing is, the picture itself is pretty nice, but I made it bigger so that it can actually fill a screen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I do like the imagery. And yes, I know, no tie for John.
Or a shirt, or a waistcoat.
Well,
as Sinclair said in the pre-stream last week, do you ever wear a shirt?
But as it is, this is the imagery that will go around the world when people talk about two old farts. So from now on, John, this is how you look.
I know, and it's flattering beyond belief.
Well, there is that.
That's what I meant by the tie in the waistcoat.
She did draw us really nice. Anyway, guys, see you all next time. This is where I'm going to say bye-bye. Matthew, any last words?
Yes. Before we sign off, I have to tell everyone that my father is an extraordinarily wonderful man because he's the one who brought me the beer I'm drinking.
Good.
Well, compliments.
Don't ask for any kind of kindness greater than that.
Yeah.
What beer did he get you?
Well, I'm an American, so it's a Budweiser.
Oh, shame.
That's too bad, mate. It's too bad.
Hey.
You know, the proper Budweiser from the Czech Republic. You said Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Budweiser Budvar. And
Okay.
it is the original after which the American upstart is named.
Yes.
And the American upstart tried to stop the original from having the same name, and it was thrown out under the obvious reason that the Czechs were there first.
Yeah. Just a few hundred years. Anyway, John, any last words other than Budweiser?
That I agree with Warp. Bud is piss.
Yeah, Bud is pissed. I'm sorry, Matthew. If you're ever in Europe, especially in the UK or in the Netherlands, look us
I'll
up.
buy you a proper Budweiser.
We'll get you a decent drink. No, not like that. You'd say thank you.
Well, you
You're
know, I'll
probably
say thank
thinking,
you.
oh, I'd have to go to
I'll
Europe.
say thank you then. Yes. I promise I will. But until then.
Sorry.
Yes, until then you have to. I understand that. Oh my God, I still don't have a proper beer now. Anyway, this is where I'm going to say bye-bye. Thank you, John. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, everyone in the chat. And I hope to see you all Wednesday.